Well, hello there, fancy meeting you here. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/AmITheButtHole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, that like, and maybe that notification bell too. And before we do jump into today's stories, I just want to say some thank yous to some members who's joined us just recently. Thank you so much. I will work on getting that members list back on the screen soon. I need to find a better way so I don't have to type it out every time. So thank you Desert Girl, Starlight Shimmer, HRH Shams Don't Care for the Rejoin, Chantel Speaker, Maisie K, Amy, Leah, Swifty666, Army of Freaks, Annie Lucy ADT, Andy Or13, The Sloth King, and Trainerless Evie for the upgrade as well. Thank you so much, and to everyone for spending your time with me today. Well, let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for lashing out at my husband for suggesting I stop buying formula instead of cancelling his streaming services to save money? I'm female 32, the breadwinner, and have a toddler and a 9-month-old baby. Their needs are never ending and everything I buy is expensive. My husband, male 37, is unemployed but uses part of my salary for his subscription/paid streaming services, which cost about $80 a month for Hulu, Premium, Netflix, HBO, Amazon, ESPN Plus, and more. I keep finding myself coming up short with money. I kept neglecting buying hygiene products and having only one pair of shoes that look decent. I can't remember the last time I bought anything nice for myself and keep feeling guilty just thinking of going shopping for stuff that is necessary. I sat him down for a discussion and told him his subscriptions are taking money, I can't keep paying for them while I have other responsibilities. I asked him to choose one channel and he threw a fit calling me ridiculous to think streaming services are the reason I'm always short on money and blamed it on the expensive and unnecessary makeup he calls it fake up I keep wasting money on. I got angry and said he needed to respect that makeup is part of my personality and won't quit buying and wearing it. He said that I was trying to financially control him since I got offended when he pointed out that I waste money on makeup and explained that he cannot and will not be bought with money no matter how desperate he is. I said okay, then let me cancel all streaming services and keep one till he can pay for them once he finds a job. But he refused and said that he's a stay-at-home parent, then those streaming services are a right and not a privilege, and I should keep paying for them without complaining since he's staying with our sons all day, and it's taxing just like my job. Final straw was when he suggested I stop buying formula and go back to breastfeeding, since that is unnecessary and expensive. I was floored and was seething. I lashed out at him, asking him if he literally thought cancelling formula is better than his precious subscriptions. Also, I work, I have no time to breastfeed. He just said he doesn't know what it is anymore and that I was pushing him, but I told him he no longer has the choice and I'll just stop paying for all his channels and subscriptions altogether, which had him reply that I was being unfair and unappreciative of his efforts. He stormed off after calling me controlling and kept cold shouldering me. Am I the arsehole? Edit. And this is going to be a reply to some of the comments which we'll cover in a moment. Edit. No, he left his previous job due to issues with his employer. He struggled with finding a job in his field and refused to work in other related fields, saying his dignity won't let him since he worked hard for his degree. My makeup gets replaced every few months. It normally costs 50 plus, but that's every few months, not every month. I stopped breastfeeding for health issues and now work, but he never stopped criticizing my decision to use formula, calling it a waste of money when I could push past the pain and provide our son with real benefits. Odd Girl says, what efforts? He's contributing nothing financially. You are not the arsehole and you can spend your hard-earned dollars however you like. Skyward Dork says not the arsehole. If he isn't going to contribute, he doesn't get a say. I'm saying this is a man whose wife is the breadwinner, though I do work. If she asked me to cancel any of my subscriptions, I would without hesitation if I knew she was struggling. Delightful Absurdity says not the arsehole. He is prioritizing his entertainment over the routine feeding of his child. If you haven't breastfed in a while, you can't exactly just jump back into it and produce enough to feed your baby. He is sorely misinformed if he thinks subscribing to entertainment channels are a right to anyone at all. ETA, are you neglecting to buy hygiene items to afford your makeup, or are these past purchases over time that he's holding against you because you still use makeup? Melampia says, okay, let me get this straight. You're the breadwinner, he's the stay-at-home parent. Fine so far. But why does he need 5+ streaming channels if he literally works at home to keep the home tidy, everyone fed and the children taken care of? He shouldn't have the time to need them all. How well does he even take care of your sons? This might seem like I'm reaching, but well, he really seems to spend more time with his channels than his children, which is not acceptable for a stay-at-home parent if you ask me. I think it's time you give him a surprise visit when he doesn't expect you and check on your children. If you cannot do it, ask a close friend or family member that you can trust with your keys, because something doesn't add up here. On a second note, when money is tight, luxuries need to go first, and I'd see too many streaming channels as well as semi-expensive makeup quality as luxuries. However, formula for your youngest is non-negotiable. That's a need, not a luxury. The alternative, if it was even possible, would be for you to quit your job to breastfeed. However, that will only exacerbate your monetary struggles. Also, who is in control of your finances? Are you sure your husband isn't spending or taking money he shouldn't? I know you didn't give me a single reason to suspect this, but his behavior is so far out of the norm, including his narc traits, that I'm not sure he doesn't do anything to keep you struggling. Either way, not the arsehole. Now, what do you guys make of our first story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another one. And our next story comes from W. Martin 2014, and it does follow with an edit that replies to some of the comments after their verdict. And it says, "Am I the arsehole for telling my wife she isn't trying hard enough working out?" Back in late 2019, my wife joined the gym and started working out. We were both people who always complained about our weight but never did anything about it. She would go 4 to 5 times a week but wasn't losing weight and was getting upset about it. COVID hit, she quit the gym, and we started walking together. Last spring we realized walking wasn't getting it done because we eat like garbage. Overnight we made a huge change in diet and we both lost 20 pounds in 4 months. Then we moved, so the weight loss stopped, but we haven't gained, so that's good. Now that daylight savings has happened, it gets dark at 6 and we don't want to walk anymore, so we joined the gym together. First time was Monday. We both started out on the elliptical, and after 15 minutes I moved on and rotated around the room. 30 minutes later I go back and she is still on the elliptical, and it's on one of the lowest settings. As we walked to the car, I told her the reason she never lost any weight when she went to the gym before, probably because she didn't push herself hard enough and got out of the comfort zone. She was annoyed. One reason I felt the need to say something is last week I told her I was thinking about getting up in the mornings and doing a 1 to 2 mile run daily. She didn't like the idea because she doesn't want me to get way healthier than her, way faster, because we've been doing this together, and I completely understand where she's coming from here. Today we go for the second time. She moved around the room more and tried different things, which I thought was great. But I looked over at one point and she was on a stationary bike going really slow, scrolling on her phone. Once we got done, I chuckled and told her she isn't going to get the progress she wants if she isn't pushing harder and keeping her phone away. She told me she wasn't going to work out with me anymore if I keep being critical. Am I the arsehole here? I feel like I might be for judging her workouts and comparing myself to her. But at the same time, I feel like what I said about her not trying hard enough was okay because she complained about not getting desired results. According to the machines we used, I probably burned twice the calories she did tonight. I left sweaty and red in the face. She looked basically the same as when she got there. But we'll start with it. Vandanaha, who says, "You're the arsehole. Making a critical comment about someone isn't doing enough in relation to trying to lose weight or get into better shape is one of the quickest ways to discourage them from even wanting to continue. It doesn't sound like you were trying to be rude, but I suggest from refraining from those kind of comments in the future." Udia says, "You're the arsehole. Weight loss mostly happens in the kitchen, not the gym. Women also carry more fat naturally, don't put on as much muscle, and in general have a completely different metabolism than men. Age and hormones also play a role. So really, you may feel like she's not working out hard enough, but that doesn't matter because you have no idea why she is struggling to lose weight, and most importantly, she didn't ask for your opinion, and your judgment probably isn't helping her motivation. The implication says you're the arsehole times 1000. Going to the gym alone is a huge accomplishment. If you keep criticizing her, she will stop going. Women and men are different, and it's usually not easy for women to lose weight the way men do. Instead of criticizing her, maybe suggest you do a workout together." Golden Nebula says, "You're the arsehole. Stop it. You're a man, she is a woman. Men and women have different needs with their bodies, and just because you can do all this stuff doesn't mean she can right away. Men and women have very different bodies. She's working out, she's being active, weight loss takes time. I don't see anything about you having a nutrition or medical degree, so I think you need to keep your uneducated opinions to yourself. And one more from Need Serotonin, who says, "You're the arsehole. My husband knows me well enough to know that wouldn't be a good way to encourage me. Do you not know your wife? You probably could have said lots of different things that would have worked better. Challenged her to a race, helped teach her machines, I don't know, but lots of things besides put your phone down, or you're not going to lose weight unless you do more." Now we're going to cover the little edit from OP, who replies to some of these comments and says, "I apologized. I was being an arsehole. I told her at the very least I should be patient and give her a few weeks before I said anything, and even then I shouldn't have said what I said. There's a more encouraging way to go about it. I appreciate several of you who have given me some great guidance on how to better handle the situation." Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwaway Prank Problem, who says, "Am I the arsehole for kicking my little brother out over a prank?" Throwaway account. Me, 25 female, and my husband, Marcus, 28 male, have a beautiful 2-month-old daughter. Background: about a year ago, my little brother, Jacob, 17 male, came to stay with Marcus and I. My mum said that she and Jacob were constantly fighting, so Jacob asked if he could stay with us until he goes off to college. I was a bit hesitant at first, but Jacob is my brother and I wanted to help him out. For the past year, everything has been going fairly well, until yesterday. Marcus was at work while me, Jacob, and my daughter were all at home. I asked Jacob if he could keep an eye on my daughter for a few minutes while I was in the bathroom. After I walked out the bathroom, I saw Jacob playing with my daughter. He was on top of a long staircase. Before I could blink, Jacob stumbled and my daughter came barreling down the stairs like a rag doll. I started crying hysterically and bolted over to the bottom of the stairs. After I got a closer look, it turns out that it wasn't my daughter. It was one of my niece's baby dolls wrapped in my daughter's blanket. My mind was blank. I looked up and saw Jacob cracking up, saying he can't believe that worked. I snapped. I started screaming at him and told him that he was beyond fucked up. Jacob tried to calm me down. He said it was a joke and that my daughter was safe and sound in her room. I was inconsolable at this point. I told him to just pack his shit and get out. Jacob started crying. He begged me to let him stay and said that he didn't mean any harm. I called my mum and told her that she needed to come pick up Jacob, or he's going to be on the streets. My mum came and got Jacob, but she later called me and said that I was massively overreacting. Even Marcus agrees with my mum. He says that Jacob is a dumb teen and should be given a second chance. Now that I'm in a calm state of mind, I'm starting to doubt my reaction, and I'm wondering if I went too far. Am I the arsehole? I don't understand these pranks or jokes, what people call it. They're not funny at all. That person just thought their child was flying down the stairs like a rag doll. Imagine what that person was feeling at that time, watching this, what they thought was their child at the time, rolling down the stairs. Absolutely horrific. I saw something very similar on socials just recently, and it was this guy who had a doll, and he was on top of the landing, and just as the mum came walking around the corner, he done this thing on his back where he rolled backwards with the child and then with his legs kicked it, and it went over the banister and flew down the stairs. Not rolled down the stairs, but literally flew over the top of the banister and just hit the floor at the bottom. The mum went charging down and was in a panic state as well. Then the guy gets up laughing, "Well, hey, look at that, look what I did." But how was that person feeling at that time? You wanted them to feel that way. That's crazy stuff to me. And I got to say, I would feel uncomfortable having someone like that in my house that would think about doing something like that in my house, whether they consider it a prank or not. I don't want to be worried about what I may be facing next. Not the arsehole to me. Pinky18 says not the arsehole. He made a dumb decision and he's going to learn there are consequences. I'm sorry you had to live for even a second thinking your daughter was flung down the stairs. Knitted Jedi says, yeah, that fear may only last a few seconds, but it sticks with you for a remarkably long time, even if you're healthy and well adjusted. When my daughter was younger, she managed to bounce herself off the bed and it only took 10 seconds for me to see that she wasn't badly injured. But she wasn't crying, so I feared the worst. Don't let your brother back, OP, but absolutely ask him to explain to you and your mother what part of the prank was meant to be funny. Don't let him be vague, really make him spell it out, and when he can't, ask him whether your distress was worth whatever humour he found in the situation. Standard Wonder says, you are absolutely not the arsehole for kicking him out. Gee, I can't imagine why your mum is having problems living with him. Maybe after a month or two consider offering him a chance to live with you again, if he keeps in mind that your child's safety is not a joking matter to you. But absolutely, he can deal with a few months of living at home with your mum again, so he can realise that his actions can have consequences, even if no one gets physically hurt. Furious Pug says, not the arsehole. I have an infant myself and understand that you are 1. Sleep deprived, 2. Filled with bonding hormones, and 3. Running on mostly adrenaline. Jacob is young and couldn't know how awful a prank this was, and will likely understand your reaction if he ever becomes a father. Hopefully now that you've had time to reflect, you are in a better state of mind and can forgive Jacob, but your reaction in the moment was a natural and very human response. Sound Sufficient says, not the arsehole, is not funny. These dumb jokes and pranks that these silly teenagers keep playing are not funny. You showed him that there were consequences to his actions, and I bet the next time he tries to play a dumbass prank, he'll think twice about it. He needs to learn that he can't play with everybody because everybody's not going to be playing with him. And let me just say, that's just not a teenager thing. As I said in my comment, when I saw it, it was an adult doing it. It's just arseholes doing it. AliMCK476 says, not the arsehole. Pranks are funny, or should be. They shouldn't leave a young mother in terrified hysterics. You did your brother an enormous favour and he put you through unnecessary trauma. Obviously, whether you decide you can forgive him is up to you. In your place, I wouldn't, as long as he's being defended by the boys will be boys BS instead of apologising profusely. And one more from Oh My God, who says, I don't think you're an arsehole. I think you had a very justifiable emotional response to what he did. He is 17 and has no idea the fear you had as a parent in that moment. I'm sure him seeing you as distraught as you were will smarten him up. Now, what do you guys make of this one? I just can't imagine what that person was going through at that moment, seeing their child like that, seeing their potential child like that. Crazy stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Heartbroken Mum Throwaway, who says, am I the arsehole for naming my son after myself, after my ex demanded he be named after him? I, female 29, was with my ex, male 39, for a year and a half. I own a business that I started and grew before meeting him. He works for his dad's company. We started having issues in the relationship when he started to talk about leaving his family business to co-own mine. I would politely but very firmly say no. You don't have any knowledge about how my company works. Think beauty industry versus auto industry. And if you want to work in my company, you have to start in areas where your skill set can be applied. You can't just step in as a new co-owner, and not to mention, we hadn't even discussed marriage at this point. I'm not about to hand over half of my business to a guy I haven't even considered marrying yet, whether on paper or not. Well, anyways, the relationship started to become extremely toxic, and we were fighting all the time about me not seeing him as an equal, and if I respected him, I should be confident letting him into my business as an owner. I wasn't being a team player in the relationship, etc., in his words. I finally had enough, so we broke up. I found out I was pregnant a few weeks later. When I told him, he said to end it, or to take him to court when the baby got here, but to never contact him again, and blocked me. Well, when I was 8 months along, I guess he decided to unblock my number and call me. I ignored the call because I already spent my entire pregnancy preparing to be a single mum and making arrangements to have my best friend move in with me and help with the baby. He got mad that I didn't pick up his call and text me saying, I don't really care about our past disagreements, but if you have any decency, I ask that you name him. X's full name. I don't know how he knows it's a boy, if he has me blocked everywhere, but I guess he could have used a friend's account to look me up. Well, I blocked him, and when I had my son, I named him after myself. For example, if my name was Julianne, my son is Julian. Or if my name was Brenda, my son is named Brendan. Fake names, obviously, but you get the idea. Well, he's pissed, and his whole family is now harassing me on social media and calling my business, asking for me by name to cuss me out, and because I am at home with my baby, my employees are being harassed. I feel like I might be the arsehole here because I had several baby names picked out that I could have used instead of naming the baby after myself and causing all this drama. My friend says I should change my baby's name to something unrelated to both of us, but I love his name. Quick edit, I should have included this in the original info, but was worried about character limit. I was on birth control and we used condoms. It failed, but I'm not at all regretful that my baby is here. He was married and divorced and has 2 kids, both boys, from his previous relationship. Neither are named after him. What the hell? So this guy wanted nothing to do with the baby at the start, blocked you on everything, then comes flying back in at 8 months along, goes, name the baby after me. What the hell? Absolutely is going to be a not the arsehole in this situation, the cheeky so-and-so. But then harassing you and getting people to harass you at your business as well? Surely you can do something legally about that to get them to stop. But Sky Diamond says not the arsehole. He didn't want involved, so he wasn't involved. He doesn't get to just show up demanding a baby. He wanted aborted to be named after him. I would contact a lawyer ASAP to protect yourself, child and business. If you're in a one-party state, record all calls coming into your business and go after his family for harassment and see what you can do about a restraining order. Do not let him or his family push you around. I understand people can change their mind about if they want to be a parent, but they do not get to threaten, harass, degrade or demand anything out of you after disappearing the entire pregnancy. If he truly cared about the child himself, it wouldn't matter what Elo's name is. It is all about control with him. This was another way to try and veto your decision and flex over you. I wouldn't change the name if it were me. I would also use his own line on him. Take me to court and don't contact me again. Awkward Wasabi says not the arsehole. Tell him if you agreed to name your kid after him, the poor kid would be bullied all through high school because sperm donor is not a common name. Deco says not the arsehole and get a restraining order. There is nothing more dangerous than a weak man that feels embarrassed in front of his family. Syntaxa says not the arsehole and get a restraining order. This is very clear harassment. Velvet says not the arsehole. He told you how he wanted it to be. Abort or take him to court. He doesn't get to swoop in after 8 months and start making demands. I'm sure if you named your son any unrelated name, your ex would be sulking as it wasn't his name. And one more who says, from Nimbus who says not the arsehole, I don't think you naming your kid based off yours is really the problem. The problem is your ex is an entitled little bitch. You should block their numbers and warn them about taking things to court if they continue harassing you and your employees. Enjoy your baby. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. A huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being involved in the channel, getting involved on the daily. It means the absolute world. As well as our usual 2 videos tomorrow, we have a members video coming out as well. A couple of funny stories in there, so feel free to join up if you choose to do so. Never any pressure though, just a little extra, you know. But thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't